Hi, I'm Melanie Window, and I am the Mel behind Enneagram with Mel. I came across the Enneagram when I was 17 years old in the kitchen with my stepmom. We were just talking about Enneagram in the background, what it was, and we started to list out the different types of Enneagrams. And my stepmom said, I think you may be an Enneagram type 4. Now, we don't do that anymore, but we didn't know better back then. We don't type people, we let them figure out what type they are and they tell us. However, we then read the list of the Enneagram type 4 and I ticked every single point, especially back then when I was 17. Hit the nail on the head. And my dad, who was a skeptic at the time, was in the living room, so he couldn't see us, but he could hear us. And he said, who wrote a list about Melanie? Because it was that spot on. So then we read the 8, which we assumed was his, and it was again spot on. And that led to this spiral of me discovering and learning what the Enneagram was. Because for me as an Enneagram type 4, always trying to find my significance, my identity, who I am, the Enneagram helped me to realize I'm not alone in the world in how I feel. Because if there are 9 types, let's say, and billions of people on this planet, and they could list things that I experience, that I struggle with, then surely there's many, many others that would feel the same way. And I loved how it connected me, 17-year-old me in Sydney, Australia, to potentially a delivery driver in Mumbai, India. I loved that. I loved how we can connect and how there are only 9 types. Now, I like to go deeper and understand and explain the different types now. And so, yes, after I discovered my type, I went to workshops, I read, I discovered, I learned, I listened to podcasts, went to conferences. Honestly, the thing that taught me the most out of all of those things was learning firsthand from people, from friends, from family. In our family, oddly enough, which is a little bit quite rare, I've come to realize, every single member in our family is a different Enneagram type. Now, that's quite rare. So that helped me to learn the different types and the nuances of the types. But then also, a few years into our work together, I was working with my father in corporate. He said, Mel, why don't we bring the Enneagram into our work and use it in the corporate space alongside the play of life, which we were using, which is his method of psychotherapy. And I thought, well, I'm not qualified. And he said, well, you know a lot about it. Let's just start. So we started, bringing it into workshops. And then slowly we started doing Enneagram. We called them debriefs because people were doing online questionnaires. But honestly, the online questionnaires, I would honestly have to almost undo what they did to help them find what type they were within 1 hour. So in time, I found a different way of helping people find what type they were within an hour. Now, of course, it doesn't guarantee that that is their type, but it does help to fast track the process with someone that understands the nuances of the types, what I like to say, the make it or break it's of the types. Because in essence, the Enneagram for me is a philosophy. It's a way of thinking. It's not so much personality profile. And the reason I like to separate that is because personality is so nuanced. It's so unique to each of us. And it has to take into account our culture, our background, our society, our upbringing, all of those things that make us who we are, especially as a 4. That's all about identity and awareness. So much more than just one type. So the Enneagram explains our lens with which we view the world. And from there, how can I kind of let go of the confines of one type and learn to integrate and become a mix of the 9, to touch and access different types from me, not losing myself, not putting on a mask for so long that I forget who I am. So that's why the process of the Enneagram is often coming back to who I am, coming back to my true self. And that's why in my work with clients, with my work running workshops, is helping people to reconnect with their true self, to come back to who they are in their essence. Because in my opinion, we are born our type. You can see that from little kids. You can see that from babies. They have personalities from the first moment they start crying. Even in the womb, they have personality. If you see twins, they can be so different in how they perceive the world. For me, the Enneagram is just a human way of understanding that lens, that way of how we perceive and react to our nurture, or lack thereof. So I invite you to go along this journey with me, either, as a client or in workshops or watching my videos, to help explore who you are, what you have learnt to be, what masks you may have donned to fit in to society or cultural expectations, and who you really are beneath it all, and how to embrace and come back to it, and then grow and become the best version of you by integrating and borrowing, I like to say, from all the other types and learning from them too. So, welcome, and ask me any questions that you have.